My name is Suhas Uliar, the Vice President for Product Management for the Digital Assistant at Oracle. And I'm extremely thrilled and pleased to have Serdar Kanbek, Senior Manager, Operations Reporting and Analytics from Office Depot, who will be joining me and sharing some excellent and exciting stories and their case study on using Oracle Digital Assistant within their environment. We'll start quickly with the Safehouse Statement. Like every good story begins with once upon a time, our story began in 2016 when Larry Ellison got up on stage in the 2016 Open World. And in the first demo of what we called at that time the intelligent chatbot platform, where he used this to order his business cards using the intelligent chatbot application. Fast forward today, we've grown leaps and bounds where we have Larry talking about the Oracle Digital Assistant as a important and huge differentiator as we compete in the market between us and other cloud competitors. And he specifically calls out the Oracle Voice Digital Assistant. And in this last few years, the Oracle Digital Assistant has become a core differentiating component for all our SaaS applications, as well as for our customers who are building applications or skills or chatbots using the platform. So let's take a quick look at sort of where we went, what is a chatbot versus what a digital assistant is. And, we started with, as I said, in 2016 with a chatbot. That's typically a very single purpose, reactive user-based user-initiated engagements, to a digital assistant that's truly multi-purpose, that's proactive, that can push notifications to the user and can have complex context-based conversations between multiple skills. And we'll show you what that means in a minute. So let's level set to first describe what is the Oracle Digital Assistant. And in essence, it's a platform that's built or powered by AI, and it's used to build intelligent chatbots that we refer to as skills. More on that later. As I mentioned, it's all AI-based using machine learning with some very deep learning for natural language processing. And you can interact with it in multiple ways. We support a number of different channels, both public like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, WeChat, etc., enterprise-grade channels like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and web interfaces, as well as mobile embedded interfaces for chat, all that can be also enabled using voice. We also support the voice channels like Alexa and Siri and so on and so forth. As you can see on the screen, we actually use the digital assistant to answer questions about the digital assistant. And so if you're interested, you can go to our website and you can interact with it and learn more about the digital assistant with that. So what really makes us a digital assistant, and more, what does it make it, how does this really truly become an enterprise digital assistant? And this is sort of the last slide on the basics as we get into more of the innovation. One of the challenges, as I mentioned earlier, is that when you look at an enterprise, you're dealing with a number of different applications. So as you see on the side here, you've got all these different types of applications, from supply chain, ERP, HCM, CX to others. And, what we've done is and even if you're building custom skills or custom bots, you're going to end up with a number of these different sort of skills or chatbots the user has to engage with. Now, this makes it truly difficult for a user to discover, identify, authenticate, authorize, figure out what role, permissions they have, and also sort of how to interact, what kind of questions or utterances you can use to interact with these different skills. So what we've done is we've provided one digital assistant that's based on your role profile, can identify sort of what skills you have access to. And as you ask these questions, they automatically route. It's a super intelligent router, also powered by AI, that understands the input that's coming from the user and is able to route that question to the relevant skill of the chatbot, which then has all the integrations to the actual application. So actually the first, Oracle was the first company in the industry to actually deliver an enterprise-grade digital assistant. Now we see everyone trying to copy what we've done, but we've had a 3-year head start on this, where we've sort of created this unified platform that allows you to not only develop individual skills chatbots, but also sort of amalgamate all these into one digital assistant that can interact across multiple backend systems. Not only that, but we also maintain state and context. So unlike Alexa, where you have to specifically say, hey, Alexa, ask that skill or ask that bot, we implicitly actually route it. So when you ask questions about your payroll, it goes to the HCM system. If you ask questions about expenses, it automatically goes to your ERP system and so on and so forth. You don't have to explicitly call upon any of these skills. So what have we been doing in the last year? So we acquired and launched Oracle AI Voice, and I'll describe in more detail what it is. But one of the primary reason why we acquired this company and we actually released our own voice was that as we look at the enterprise, our customers wanted to make sure that we provide the level of security and privacy that enterprise customers need. So there's no one listening into your conversations. The data is all maintained in the customer's context. It's not actually held by some other cloud company. But more importantly, as I'll show you in my demos, we're able to extend the voice models to be able to understand domain and customer-specific vocabulary. And that is very critical as you interact with data across different types of domains as well as enterprise applications. We also provided unified support for frequently asked questions as well as transactional. So asking a question like, hey, what time does my bank my bank branch open, as well as what's the balance on my account? They're all handled through the same generic or unified NLP model or natural language processing model. As I mentioned earlier, with Larry's support, every single application within Oracle has been application team has been building out-of-the-box chatbots integrated with the digital assistant, integrated with the applications. We also released a very sophisticated, what we call conversational design, that allows you to design your dialogue without writing a single line of code. It's literally drag and drop, and it is, as in words, it is completely WYSIWYG. Allows you to create this very sophisticated dialogue without writing a single line of code. We also improved our analytics to provide smart insights into improved business decisions. And the key there is that it is actually targeted at the business persona, not the developer or the administrator of the chatbot or the skill, but truly targeted at the business to understand, the interactions that are going on and how best to keep the model updated without, again, becoming a data scientist or learning machine learning or any of that sort. We've also had excellent industry recognition from the OVM, we're the leader in the market, lots of articles written about the Oracle Digital Assistant, and equally important, we've seen an increased adoption around the world with a number of different organizations in multiple verticals utilizing the digital assistant not only for customer experience skills as well as employee-facing skills, so both B2C as well as B2E. And one thing you'll notice that's different from the different logos of customer names is that our customers take pride in naming, giving the digital assistant a persona. And so you can see here the different names that our customers are given, like Ask Patty by Bajaj Electrics and so on and so forth. Sorry. Obviously, let's face it now, the world looks very different today. We are now entering an uncharted territory. COVID-19 has created unimaginable disruptions in every single industry around the world, whether it's transportation, hospitality, retail, education, so on and so forth. And now this change has become our new normal. Every business around the world is now faced with making new and important decisions. So in this new normal, what is needed? Obviously, everyone has to be connected, and being able to scale to provide self-service becomes more and more critical. The increased need to keep up to date, being able to work remotely the situation gets really complex, especially when you look at customer service, when now your agents are no longer in a call center and being able to talk to each other or be able to escalate things around and quickly get to systems where you get to answers or data very quickly across the systems. And so obviously the digital assistant is becoming very, very key in answering or providing the self-service capabilities, whether it's to your customers or whether to your employees. It's 24/7. There's no wait time. There's no sort of bouncing calls from one call agent to the other. We can be proactive as things change, and everything is changing in rapid time now, and being able to keep employees and customers updated is critical. And with the capabilities we've added to do proactive notifications, that becomes even more critical across channels. And so it really is about how do you lower costs without lowering the service that you provide to your customers with self-service and automation. So let's take a quick look at a an application that we built. As you know, Oracle and Larry Ellison have been personally engaged with providing sort of applications to help with COVID. And we basically provided a chatbot on top of that to help healthcare professionals be able to update records as they look at as they work with patients and they provide sort of responses to patients. So here we have. I'm just going to quickly show this demo working here. So this is the voice input to an Oracle app that's been built, and let's get to this app. Let's click on that, and I'll explain sort of what I'm doing in a minute once I start the demo going here. George Smith's condition has gotten worse. His symptoms are critical. He is short of breath and still coughing. His fever is 103.8. I'm recommending to put him on a ventilator.
Summary for George Smith feeling worse.
Add sore throat.
I have added sore throat to the list of symptoms.
Yes.
Thank you. The patient status information has been saved.
So take a quick look at this, right? So I basically transcribe the whole condition here. And this is sort of not only understanding specifics about the voice capability and transcribing it, but then also being able to, transcribe the data into very specific fields. So this is sort of where we extract the information to very specific fields that are updated in the database, and we break it into what in the machine learning world called slot filling, where we break that into the summary, the severity, the symptoms, etc. And then I can automatically also continue to add additional capabilities, which then gets added, in this case, add sore throat to the symptoms. Now, let me do one more demo here. I can say, Luke's condition has gotten worse. His symptoms are critical. He's short of breath and still coughing.
Can I get the patient's temperature?
101.2.
Is patient on supplemental oxygen?
No.
Summary for Luke feeling?
Yes.
Thank you. The patient status information has been saved.
Now, in this example, I did not give all the information that the digital assistant required to update the system. So I just gave a partial sort of update here, and the digital assistant automatically recognized that and then prompted the user, in this case, the medical staff, to provide additional information like the temperature and whether the patient was using supplemental oxygen. So here's an example of how we've been able to use a digital assistant to help Oracle's, what they call the TSM, the Therapeutic Systems Medical Management System, with sort of voice and the digital assistant to help make the user experience of the medical professionals very easy to interact and update with patient records. So, and this is sort of an internal view of this. We've also had a number of customers that have used the digital assistant really from a very, very fast speed to innovate, like the equivalent of the Red Cross in Spain, that in 6 days they built the digital assistant to help their volunteers record their activities using natural language. I'll quickly sort of go through the demos of this. State of Oklahoma, again, with 30,000 plus employees who now have been asked to work from home. They wanted to make it very easy for the employees to get information about how to work from home, but also take the load away from the IT department who are overwhelmed and looking for ways to help make it efficient for them. And the third one is the State University of New York. There are about 64 schools, about 1.3, 1.4 million students. Students are very well versed with technology and used to using all these cool, new fancy ways of doing interaction using messaging channels. So Sunny built an assistant that would handle frequently asked questions about the campus and make it very easy for their students to get this information. So let's take a quick look at some of these, the way these demos work. So let me just get to the site for, this is the Red Cross, and this is again in Spain. So they've got this built into their system itself. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm just going to say, hello, in Spanish, hola, it welcomes me. And I'm going to ask a question in Spanish. It's a multilingual bot. So this basically is saying, I want to help, I want to be a volunteer. Ask some questions. So I'll say, I think the answer here is no. And then I'm going to ask a question like, I want to register my activities. What initially was asking me was, am I a volunteer? And I've already got information there. Register my thing, and it asked me to sort of enter my, passport number and my identification number and so on and so on. So a very quick example of, of how the Red Cross is using that digital assistant for volunteers. The Oklahoma State, and I'm going to ask a question here, like, how do I set up my VPN? So it gives me the answer, and I can click on that and get more information. Very classic ones, password reset. So the ITSM type functions. I can click on any of this, and it will take me down the path. If I click on new laptop, this actually, this is a process that actually requires you to now work with an agent. So they've taken a bulk of sort of the self-service type inquiries or interactions and really focused on sort of escalating, critical questions or critical interactions to the agent. Quickly show you sort of the Sunny one, again, embedded into their website. I can ask a question like, when does school start? Right. I can ask a question like, can I visit the campus? You can ask, did tuition change? And so on and so forth, right? So, and what's very important about all these use cases is that we were able to get all of these customers live in days. It's not weeks, right? And they tried this with a lot of other competitors and weren't able to get this done in the time they wanted to. Obviously, time was of the essence, and obviously quality was of the essence there as well. So, what we find in general is that we have a lot of customers who are now looking at the way their employees are working from home using the digital assistant in sort of quickly starting with what we call FAQ bots, being able to answer quick questions around policies and how to do things, and then extending this to self-service and insights. So we're looking into things like, hey, I want to change my address, or I want to update my records, or I want to look at the status of, whatever else, or hire somebody or do onboarding. So a lot of these pre-built skills are being now used as part of the overall implementations. And we've got a number of customers, IFCO in India, the Hilton Group, Honeywell, Southern Electric, and so on and so forth. So I touched base on this, the whole concept of the digital assistant and multiple skills. So let's take a quick demo of sort of what is that experience and how do these multi-skills work in real life. So here, I'm going to use, again, my digital assistant, and I'm going to interact with a number of systems of records in the background without me actually knowing what they are and how to connect with them. So I'm going to first ask some policy questions like, what is our policy for the pandemic? And we also have auto self-complete. In fact, I could even sort of talk to it, so I can just click on that and say, what is our policy for the pandemic? Right, and it comes up with the answer or what are the FAQ is. Here I realize that, okay, the offices remain only for critical employees. So I can ask a question like, am I a critical? And it automatically picks up. We have autocomplete in there, so it says, okay, auto completes my utterances. So I can say, am I a critical employee? We already done what is VPN, and so on and so forth. Right, so these are what we call FAQ type questions that can come from a variety of different sources. Now, let's say I want to update a record. So I can say, update my profile. Right, so here it says, what would you like to update? Address or phone. I'll pick address. And what it does is we have a lot of very nice graphical controls that can show information like images and videos and text and so on and so forth. And so here, basically, we've gone and connected. I've logged in as someone called Brian Joseph. He's gone to my HCM system and brought up my record. So it says, provide your new address. So I'm going to pick my new address as 2815 Avenue. And I'm going to move to San Francisco, California 94106. I noticed that Brian currently works or lives in Keller, Texas, and is moving to California. When I do that, what you'll see is the digital assistant comes back, and as you'd expect, it updates my record. But this is sort of where we further differentiate from most of these other chatbots or other sort of enterprise assistant platforms, virtual assistant platforms that are out there, where we have embedded process built into it. So this actually recognizes the fact that Brian Joseph is moving from Texas to California, the fact that, there is no state income tax in Texas while you have to pay state income tax in California, and ask me, would you like me to update my W-4? So when I say yes, so what we do here is that we have further additional cognitive skills like image processing, object processing, and so on and so forth, the built-in OCR capability, where we can actually generate a W-4 for the user itself. So rather than sort of print out a W-4 form, fill it up, and put it all, we automatically recognize the whole process associated with a change from one state to the other. Quick little example here, I can say, I can look at my show my benefits. Right, so I can show my different benefits. Let's click on medical. Right now, Stephanie, Brian's wife, is currently the only beneficiary. And let's say they have a change in status, and I say, I have a newborn in the family, what changes I need to make. Again, it recognizes the fact that, hey, it gives you information that you may want to update your W-4 or your benefits. I'll say both. But here's where it continues with the process. So it asks me what is the name of the child and the birth date. So let me just say, Sarah Joseph. And I say confirm. And now Sarah Joseph has confirmed and added. So this is sort of where it's just not a question of getting a question asked and an answer received. It's actually helping with the process itself. Now to show, so this is obviously was connecting to the HCM system. So now to show how I can expand beyond that, I can ask a question like, what is my next meeting? So this could be connecting to Gmail or to Office or to any other collaboration system, and says, okay, your calendaring system says, okay, you've got a next meeting on HCM. I can also ask questions like, who is attending? Now this does two things. So first, it's connected to my calendaring system, got my meeting, then went in there, and then connected to my HCM system to get information about all the attendees there. I can click on that and say, okay, who's Betty, right? I can also ask questions like, hey, I want to order a new laptop, right? Now we also have recommendation engines built into the process side. So I'd say, yeah, okay, please recommend based on my role. So it says, okay, based on your role in accounting, this is sort of the percentage of what laptops that your cohorts or your colleagues have picked. I can look at the different devices out there, or the laptops. I can get more details. Once I'm done, I can say details of these laptops and say no. Make a choice. Yes. Pick the yoga. Would like a requisition for me? Yes. Right? And this is actually going to go create a requisition. Again, showing very quickly the two aspects of the digital assistant that makes it really differentiated. Number one is that we can connect to multiple skills, multiple chatbots, all through one interface, and it automatically routes it and has state and context. And the other is that we also have process built into the digital assistant. So it's not just a quick question of getting a question and an answer either through FAQ or transactional, but actually continuing the process as part of the transaction itself. All right, so getting back to the slides here. So again, we see a number of different use cases here, and customer service is our top and the lowest hanging fruit use case that we see. We have a number of customers that have used the digital assistant to provide, self-service to their customers to not only sort of reduce their cost of operation, but also improve the customer experience, ensuring that they're not waiting in line for an agent and being able to get quick responses to their questions. So a number of customers that have been using it, and I'm delighted today to have Sardar from Office Depot that's been one of our top customers who've been working along with us, along with our partner Fishbowl on this journey from day one. So I'm really delighted, Sardar. Thank you so much for making time and joining the call. I'm going to then hand off the presentation portion to you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sardar Janbek. I'm Senior Manager of Operations, Reporting, and Analytics for Customer Care Department at Office Depot. I have been a long-term Office Depot employee with 14 years of experience in contact center management. Over the years, I have been adding responsibilities to my job description, but mainly I focus on forecasting, resource management, Oracle Service Cloud, Oracle Digital Assistant, and Cisco WebEx Contact Center applications. and all related projects, administrative functionalities, and vendor management portion of it. In addition, my team is responsible of managing real-time and historical operations, key performance indicators, reporting and analytics of all data points from the applications that we manage. Recently, we have been investing more into automation and knowledge bases to increase containment levels and increase availability of self-service portals and functionalities. And one of the reasons why we've chosen Oracle Digital Assistant. You may know about Office Depot already. With the recent acquisitions, we're changing our business model to be more services and product and tech solutions company. We now have about 1,250 stores, $10.6 billion in sales. And for Oracle and Office Depot, we both have a long history and trade balance. I'm happy to say that Office Depot is pretty much an Oracle shop with the applications that we use and recently moved to cloud versions, including HCM, SCM, ERP Cloud, as well as Service Cloud. Next slide. We've been slowly addressing opportunities to improve customer care operations and, of course, customer experience. With new technologies and data feed, I'm able to pinpoint areas of concern, shrink possible gaps in our operations. Essentially, we have two websites, one for B2B operations, another is more focused on B2C and SMB operations. With multiple customer segments and the number of customers, which is about 29 million, we have a niche and complex operations model. We never say no to our customers on top of that, so it makes it even extra complicated. It is usually my job to simplify it and inject it to our global operations. By now, everyone has a smart device. The demand on digital platforms have been increasing over the past decade, and therefore we have an increase in our chat volume, moving away from the phones into more digital platforms, chat and text. We recently enabled our text messaging functionality. Actually, we're one of the first companies who deployed that about 3 years ago now, and we're very proud of that, and it's been growing since then, as well as chat. Due to these complexities in our business model, we have a global contact center presence. Although our volume has been decreasing over the years, unfortunately, the complexity and expectations of our customers have been increasing. There are not that many opportunities left that we haven't automated through our websites or processes over the years. And we have a high chat handle time and at least 90-day learning curve. On top of budget limitations, newly added demand due to COVID, we need to focus on opportunities and eliminate unnecessary contacts from our contact centers and from our customers. Oracle Digital Assistant and Fishbowl solutions have been helping us out with deploying Digital Assistant and address ongoing demand from our customers. What did we accomplish over the past year? Essentially, a great partnership with Oracle Digital Assistant and Fishbowl teams, I'm proud to say. Both great teams and individuals to work with. I'm learning every day something new and exciting and helpful to my career and Office Depot customer service teams. Again, my thanks to Martin, Suhas, Paige from Oracle, and Tim, Scott, Matt, and Jason from Fishbowl teams. On our two bot platforms, one for B2B, the other for B2C and SMB, we now can contain up to 19% of our chat volume. That is roughly just over 200,000 chats annually. We have added multiple frequently asked questions or references on our two websites. Which majority of the containment is usually for contact centers in retail space is on order status, cancellations, policy-related questions. I personally like the design and flexibility of the platform. We can turn it on and off based on whatever is impacting our operations within seconds, if it comes to that, as well as customers can self-serve after we are shutting down our contact centers. Additionally, smooth integration with Oracle Service Cloud. There are a few parts to this, but most importantly, I think there's a soft benefit of handle time reduction, because 100% of the chat conversations are going through the digital platforms, and therefore we keep track of what customers have asked and how the bot responded. When a live agent joins the conversation, he or she is now able to see all the conversation history with the bot, as well as the customer's previous contact history in Oracle Service Cloud, and definitely take point action and eliminate repetitive questions. I estimate about 30 seconds savings out of all of the chat conversations at this time, and that's a soft benefit. Okay, now I can show you guys my screen and take it from there. Okay, this is OfficeDepot.com. I'm going to show you two things real quick over here. If you wanted to chat with a contact center, and if you have not logged into the website, automatically you're presented with the specific fields as well as the topics that you could choose from. What I will do though, instead, I will log in. Great. Okay, we're gonna start the chat again. And since I logged in, the website knows and pushes the information to Oracle Digital Assistant. Therefore, doesn't need to ask who I am, and it already knows who I am. And some of the functionalities in the design, thanks to Fishbowl team, they helped us design it to mimic our website and the design of it and colors, and also some of the statements that we would like them to see and then observe when they reach out to customer service. Since COVID-19 happened, we have been in high demand, and this platform has been helping us big time. So one of the topics, as I mentioned, I wanted to show is order status. Where's my order? Hello, where is my order? Let's go with it. Okay, I will enter an order number I just placed today, and which is a common case these days for us, because that's something that we need to manage, and you're doing a pretty good job. But here's a scenario where the order number is back ordered. This was basically, I believe, wipes, and now it is in back order. We're apologizing. What else can we do? Either search for similar items if it is not available, or cancel the order, or wait for the order to come. And I'll just say wait for the order to come. And then afterwards, there's a few other functionalities that we built. You can always go to Live Agent. We don't want to interfere with customers' experience by pushing the digital assistant all the time, and make it easy for them to be able to reach out to a live agent, and or check more statuses or responses, or some promotional pieces that we would like them to be using, because it's available on our website and we're trying to promote that. And that is pretty much it. What do we want to accomplish during 2020, rest of it, and 2021 with Digital Assistant? As you can see on the slide, we would like to continue to build more question and answer knowledge-based articles. I think between two different platforms, two different websites, it's a great opportunity to continue to build onto those, because without a good knowledge base and availability of it through the platforms like Digital Assistant, our chatbot essentially is not going to be as helpful and won't contain the conversations. Additionally, we'd like to personalize experiences. One answer doesn't fit everybody all the time. Personalization will be based on the email domains or account IDs that are logged into the website. So if a company like Oracle logs into our platforms, now we can actually provide knowledge-based articles for Oracle and be helpful and increase containment rates. And expand the same bot and the logic to different channels. As I mentioned, text messaging bot is going to be coming soon in the next couple of weeks. And from there on, hopefully, what Suhas has been presenting, a version of the natural language IVR you'll be able to use and develop. And lastly, more machine learning and functionalities. To be fair, for the past year or so, we've developed these Q&As and APIs. There's only a few of them. However, we would like to be able to correct the flows that may be not working properly, or look into that and develop and eliminate the errors so we can increase the containment rate from 19% to 25%. That's about it, Suhas. Thank you very much for inviting me again. And please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Sardar. That was terrific. And with this COVID and working from home, I ordered a new office chair from Office Depot, and I was thrilled to use the digital assistant to answer questions about when is my chair coming home, because I was sick and tired of sitting in my old chair. But that was awesome. Thank you so much for being a great partner, and also to Fishbowl for working with us on this, and really excited to see this now live and being used in production. So moving on, Sardar talked a lot about sort of the benefits from a customer service CRM perspective, a self-service perspective, and we're seeing similar benefits across the globe, across the broad spectrum of applications, from HCM, ERP, SCM, as well as CRM, as Sardar just talked about. So we're continuing to put in a number of investments, and we're looking at it really from two perspectives. And to just pick from an item that Sardar mentioned about machine learning and making it more conversational, more human-like, we are putting a number of, we've done a lot of work in making this more, making AI more human, having more natural conversation. And I'll show you in a minute sort of what I mean by that. And also sort of using human augmentation and building more what we call collaborative intelligence. So in the context of making it this AI more human, or the interactions more human, we've done a lot of investment in sort of the machine learning models. And I don't have time to go through all of them right now, but using the latest and greatest in transformers technology like BERT and Muse and so on and so forth, adding machine learning based named entity recognition, using transfer learning, sequence to sequence, a whole bunch of a pipeline of algorithms to really make these conversations and very, very natural. So here are some examples of it, and I'm going to go into this in more detail when I show you a demo of this. And using these base models, we've also been able to truly support native multilingual support, as opposed to using translation services. We're truly, with one model, being able to support multi-languages, and I'll show you a demo of that as well. So specifically in the collaborative intelligence, we are looking at, we've added a number of new enhancements in customer-specific data augmentation. So our machine learning algorithms have been pre-trained with a lot of enterprise vocabulary. And this is what makes us very unique, because Oracle's been in the enterprise space for over 30, 40 years. And being a data company, has access to a lot of data that we can use to train our models to truly be enterprise domain specific models, right? And that really helps with rapid start and quick adoption. But customers do have their own vocabulary or their own data models, and so being able to augment this data in a way that doesn't get too skewed towards what we know, and being able to take a very small set of data from a customer and be able to overlay that along with the pre-trained models is really truly unique in the way we support our enterprise customers. In addition, when we talk to customers, most customers don't have the necessary data, if you like, to train the models. And so we have inbuilt capability to do crowdsourcing that the customer can do, and that crowdsourcing could be either internal to their organization or go external. and be able to sort of take that data, and that data is their data. It's not Oracle data, and we're not sort of taking the data and training our based models. This is again sort of for the customer to be able to take crowdsource this data and add this into our systems to train their specific models and provide a data manufacturing pipeline. I earlier mentioned that we've done a lot of work on analytics, and we continue to raise the bar to make it really simple for our customers with their business users to be able to look at, how is the system working? What are the key phrases? What are the most common phrases that are being interacted upon or being entered by the user? And is it really performing to the levels that it needs to? So really being able to look at, quick themes for insights and be able to fine tune the model more. So let's take a quick look at some advanced NLP demos, and I'm going to start with, what do we see very common with returns as an example, right? So here I've built a retail bot, and we've got a number of intents here. This is sort of what you're seeing here is the platform UI that we use for development and for testing. So I'm going to click on the tester here, and it's going to come up with a tester where I can test this against a number of different channels we support, but that's not really the key point here. So I'm going to ask a question that in many cases, sort of this becomes very confusing for other chatbots and digital assistants. I want to ask a question like, I want to cancel my order, right? And so this is an FAQ one where it basically comes back and gives me a response on what it takes to cancel the order. So this is sort of, and I got some data from Costco here and just sort of use that as a standard response. Now I'm going to ask a question like, why was my order canceled? Now, when you look at most of the systems, they tend to sort of disambiguate or ambiguate into the same sort of intent, if you like, right? So when we do this, sort of we are able to clearly understand the difference between, although they're very similar in sentence, I want to cancel my order, why was my order canceled? But the answers are very different because the context is very different as well, right? This is, again, to just show the fact that we're able to understand there's very nuances of that as well. So I can also sort of give a response back saying, that was very helpful. And many humans tend to sort of provide this kind of response back or say, okay, I didn't really like the answer. And we have what called system intents that are able to answer that and understand that, okay, this is actually not a question, it's a statement, and says, okay, that's great. You can ask me another question. Or I can also sort of, instead of typing everything in, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to copy paste the utterance here and say, that was very helpful. Do you offer price match? And we're able to understand sort of multi intents here. One is sort of, we know that we have to ignore that was very helpful. It was just like a system intent. But the real question was, do you offer price match? Or I can have a very long additional context where there are multiple lines that I can provide. For example, here, I'll also run this. And the statement here is, I'll always worry about purchasing in the store when there are new deals coming, so on and so forth. But ultimately, the question is, do you offer price match? It's the same thing as previous, but here I've given a lot of information, a lot of context that may not necessarily be true for really answering the question, but this is sort of what we've been in our natural conversations and how humans interact with that, right? Again, just to show the complexity of what we can handle from an utterance perspective. Now I'm going to quickly show you the same the same skill with multiple languages. Here I'm supporting Chinese. I've sort of designed the intents in English so we can understand it. I'm just going to try it out in my intent tester. And I'm going to ask the same question, like I want to cancel my order in Chinese. And I'll get this is sort of just saying that, okay, it basically classified to cancel my order, which is sort of the statement I made. And if I ask a question like, what are the return policies for any product that I bought? I click on that. So that is, trust me when I say that's what it means. It is actually going to what is your return policy. So that is sort of where it went to, right? Okay, and now we're going to do the same one in Spanish. We already tested the Spanish one. I did the demo there before. So I'm just going to ask a very long question in Spanish. And essentially what it's asking is, I would like to downgrade my membership from the executive level to the standard level. You're changing jobs. Can I do that? And this basically takes me to the membership cancellation thing. So I want to look at sort of, what is the time for the stores or the opening hours. This basically says, what is the schedule? This goes to warehouse hours. If I ask a question like, I'm looking to get an update on my order. So what is the order status? Very similar to what Sardar showed you. This goes to order status, right? Again, the point here is to really be able to show multilingual all within the same NLP engine itself. Now I'm going to quickly switch. I'm going to show something we've done which is extremely complex. Again, showing the value of of what we've done from an enterprise training perspective. So we have a expense skill where you can use to take a picture of your expense receipt, or you can enter that you've made some expenses and be able to add that. Now, what we find is this is the kind of interactions that we've seen from customers. So I'm going to type something or copy paste this and say, I had lunch for lunch with 3 people for $60, right? Let me see it. Copy paste this, right? And when we do the extraction, it automatically recognizes, this is what we call entity extraction. From the statement I made, it recognized that this bucks means dollar, $60, the number 3, and integer. And just to show, and this is hard stuff to do, let's just show how Google and Microsoft do it. So I'm just going to click on a Microsoft Luis, and I'm going to type the same thing here. Lunch for 3 for $60, right? So it figured out 3 and 60 as a number, not as currency, and has no clue what bucks means, right? Let's try the same thing with Google, right? So here's the Google dialog flow. I'm going to try the same thing, analyze, and it gives me all these different things. It gives me lunch, $60, $60, 3. And as a developer, I need to figure out what do I do with all this and what is really happening here, as opposed to if you look at what we did at the Oracle thing, all these, that I can clearly see the extraction to exactly what I want. So let's do something even a little bit more complex. So I'm going to say I took a taxi and I spent $25 on taxi on April 19th. When I click on that, I get the currency amount is 25 US dollars, and date is Sunday, April 2020, right? And the original string was April 19th. Let's try the same thing now. Let's reverse the order and let's ask Google this. So let's reset. Let's ask Google this. And it thinks the date is 25th April 1919, right? I got US dollars 25 and then 19 and 25. And like, okay, what do I do with this now? It thinks US dollars 25 is the date as opposed to the actual currency. Let's ask Luis this question. And same thing, it thinks 25th April 19 is date time. It tried to figure out that, okay, US dollar 25 could be money, but guess what? That's left to the developer to figure out what that is, right? And this is sort of where we truly, our ability, our natural language processing is way ahead of the game compared to Luis or Lex or Microsoft from that matter. Okay, so let's do some more complex things as well, like ask some questions around employees. So names are always hard to do. So I'm going to ask some questions like, when will Devon Arlington come to Stratford upon Avon? Now click upon that. It will determine that Devon Arlington is actually the employee and location is Stratford upon Avon, right? Devon and Arlington are also location, by the way. But we are able to understand the context and figure out, what's what here. Let's ask a little bit more complicated question, like, let's find Paris Hilton from the Paris office, right? And here we determine that employee is Paris Hilton and location is Paris. So let's actually ask Google this question. Right? And it gives me everything. Paris Hilton, Paris office, all separately. Let's ask the same question on Devon Arlington here. Devon Arlington, we found out the person, Stratford upon Avon. So that worked well here. Let's ask Luis that question. And it still can't figure it out. It says it's geography, key phrase. And if you ask the find Paris Hilton, okay, there it basically figured it out, right? So here's sort of the hit and miss you have with Microsoft and Google, and we work perfectly every time we work this. So let's take it to another level and make it a little bit more complicated, right? And here, well, let's start comparing this with voice and see what we can do here, right? So I'm going to ask a question. Find the closest parking to the Japanese restaurant nearest to the Space Needle.
Here's the information on Mercer Street Garage.
Let's look at the complexity of what we asked. Closest parking to a restaurant nearest to the Space Needle. Now let's ask the same thing using Siri. Find the closest parking to the Japanese restaurant nearest to the Space Needle.
Okay, check it out.
And it found a Japanese restaurant. So let's maybe now ask Google this. Find the closest parking to the Japanese restaurant nearest to the Space Needle. And same thing there, it found me restaurants. Let me ask another quick question here. Find coffee nearby, but not Starbucks.
I found the following cafe, coffee and tea house near your current location, not including Starbucks.
All right, now let's ask Siri. Find coffee nearby, but not Starbucks.
Here's what I found.
And we found Starbucks. Let's ask Google that question. Find coffee nearby, but not Starbucks. And we found Starbucks. Let's ask the first question to Alexa here. Alexa, find the closest parking to the Japanese restaurant nearest to the Space Needle.
Okay, here's Restaurant Finder. Invalid.
Alexa, stop. Well, I don't need the restaurant finder. I need a parking finder. So let's ask some more domain-specific questions. What's the EBITDA for Nigene Labs?
Nigene Labs EBITDA for the trailing 12 months that ended in December 2019 was $14,083.
What's the EBITDA for Nigene Labs?
Here's what I found.
We found an EBITDA for 19 labs. Now let's ask Google this. What's the EBITDA for Nigene Labs? What's the image of an IG in labs, right? So this is sort of, the capability that we can do that goes beyond what anyone else in the industry has been capable of doing with natural language processing. Not only this, but what goes beyond this is, obviously, we are able to extend these models ourselves. But the key is to be able to do this in a combination of both the natural language processing, i.e. entities that you do in your NLP, to be automatically recognized by the voice models. And this is something that is extremely unique that I'd like you to see in this demo, the next demo here.
This demo will show custom speech language models in Oracle Digital Assistant and how they work with dynamic entities. Here's a Library of Congress demo skill with a dynamic entity called contributor name and a bunch of authors as the value. And we're able to use the custom language model feature to recognize obscure or domain-specific entity values, in this case, the French author Marie Ndaye. And I've used the ODA Headless Web SDK to automate the Library of Congress website and issue searches with voice requests, such as find books by Marie Ndaye. And so our custom language model was able to recognize that, and we're filtering for books by the contributor Marie Ndaye. And we can also automatically retrain our models when we receive new dynamic entity values. For instance, my entity doesn't have the obscure Finnish author Salla Simuka. Find books by Salla Simuka. You'll just have to trust me that that's not the right spelling, but I'm going to go ahead and automatically add ASR support just by sending that entity value to the digital assistant. So this is using the public already shipped digital APIs for custom entities. I'm going to create a request and push up the name Sala Simuka with that spelling and finalize the request. And now this author name is going to be in our list of dynamic entities that can be consumed by ODA. And by now, we've also automatically retrained our custom language model for speech, and now I'm able to ask for her with a voice request. Find books by Sala Simuka. And here we go. We've got the contributor, Sala Simuka, and we've got the books. And just as a comparison, since competitors don't allow custom language models, I'm going to use Google and Alexa. Find books by Sala Simuka. So, not quite. And here's Alexa, and I'm actually using a skill where I added that sentence to the training data, and here's what I get. Find books by Sala Simuka.
Here are your audiobooks.
So, didn't quite get it. Thanks for watching.
So as you can see, we've transitioned not only from a single purpose chatbot to a digital assistant, but also expand our models to not only understand custom vocabulary or domain-specific enterprise vocabulary, but also enable our customers to use dynamic NLP entities to not only sort of train our NLP model, but also train our language model, i.e. the voice model, to understand that. That no one in the industry is able to do today, and that's a true differentiator as we enable an intelligent, augmented digital assistant. So the Oracle Advantage is all about the quickest route to success. As you've seen, we have ready-to-use, out-of-the-box skills developed by experts in their space, out-of-the-box integration with Service Cloud for help desk automation that you saw Sardar demonstrate. With the shortest time to market, as we've seen from the demos I showed you, with customers like the Red Cross in Spain and City of Oklahoma, etc. And it's got a domain-specific model that's pre-trained that can be extended as well. We're a proven market leader, one digital assistant for the enterprise, not something that simply answers a question, but it has got process automation capabilities. It's got integration with apps on-premise or in the cloud. And as you've seen, we have native AI capabilities and multilingual support. I've already talked about us being named leader by OWM, and you can download the report and read it for yourself. So what is truly the value of the Oracle Digital Assistant? First of all, it truly helps you with a very simple user experience that customers will have a wow factor and a delightful experience in interacting with data. We're able to provide a new lease of life for all kinds of applications and actually make these applications usable using these kind of paradigms of conversational AI. Really help your organization reduce your cost of support, whether that's for employees, for IT help desk, or for employee self-service, or for customer service, and be able to scale up rapidly. Increase remote productivity with the current new norm that we are facing today, and truly help with team collaboration. So we would love to work with you and get started now. We can get to a production and a system for FAQBot immediately, as you've seen from some of the previous examples I've talked about. We would love to work with you and schedule a conversational design workshop that can help you in your journey towards conversational AI. And to learn more, please log on to oracle.com/DA, and you can get a lot more information. With that, I'd like to thank Sardar for joining me. Thank you all for your patience and for attending this webinar. We look forward to working with you. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thanks so much, Suhas, and thank you, Sardar. Hi, everyone. This is Carlos Chang with Oracle's product marketing. So with Suhas's great demos and Sardar showing off, and leveraging the digital assistant with Office Depot, this has probably given you some ideas, what's possible, what you might do with digital assistant for something similar. So with that, I'd like to finish up with by introducing Rob Ruello of Oracle Consulting, who has a very special offer for you. Rob, if you're there, the stage is all yours.
Great, thank you very much. Let me take myself off mute. And actually, that was a very interesting topic. I think I picked up a few books for my summer reading adventures this summer. I'm going to look up Salas Samuka when I get off the call today. So I want to briefly just talk about an offering that we have. It's called a Hello Workshop. And I know that everyone's sort of pressed for time here, but I'll be brief. So basically, Oracle Consulting is the group that I represent. And we are offering a zero cost strategy workshop to our clients that includes a 2 to 4 hour workshop with our senior level industry leaders and consulting executives. The purpose of this workshop is truly to work with our clients to identify the business value of digital technologies, to establish a shared understanding of your goals and objectives, to present a tailored point of view of your company given your industry and competitive dynamics, and then finally to integrate those viewpoints and identify what's possible for you using digital technologies and our cloud platform. So if you're interested in taking us up on this offer for a 2 to 4 hour workshop, we invite you to email us at hello_us@oracle.com. And we'd be more than happy to schedule an introductory Zoom meeting with you to understand your specifics and to set up a time to meet with you and your team. A bit about my team. So essentially, the experts in our group are industry experts that have very tenured experience in the industry who are now with Oracle. So we've got folks like Teresa Short, who leads our cloud consulting group. Stephanie Trunzo is our global VP of cloud offerings and transformation. She comes to Oracle from a long career at IBM and PwC. I'm with Oracle for a little over a year now, but was recently VP of digital transformation at a large systems integrator, and also spent 25 years in consulting. And we've got Bill and Mohan, who also round out our team with deep expertise in technology. So again, we welcome you to reach out to us to schedule a hello session. We'd love to work with you to help iron out what your digital strategy and transformation journey could be towards the cloud, and how Oracle can play a pivotal role in helping you achieve your goals. Thank you very much.